indie games. Am I right, fellas? No, seriously. Indie games are kind of crazy nowadays, aren't they? There are so many of them that come out and it's so easy for them to just fly right under your beak. So imagine my surprise last month in November when I was scrolling through on Twitch, someone I was following playing Bug Fables? I'd never heard of that game. I usually hear about these cool indie games through a tweet on Twitter or a video on YouTube. But hey, this game looked awesome. I then made a tweet on my Twitter like, why is nobody talking about this game? So I decided, hey, I guess I'll talk about this game. So, bugs, huh? I'll be honest, I adore bugs. Insects are awesome, man. Listen, I don't typically buy games. I'm not a pirate. I just don't usually have the money or interest in too many games nowadays. But if you told me there was an RPG out there starring cute bug dudes, yeah, that's one of the fastest buys of my life. Especially the main character being a bee. Bees are my favorite animals, guys. Yeah, not owls. So now I'm feeling pretty qualified as the bug guy, so let's take a look at Bug Fables. I usually have an instinct when it comes to these games, you know. And sometimes I play a game that I just know will be a very good game. It's happened twice before, and I've always been right. So you may be wondering, is this one of those games too? And well, so was I. And then I played Bug Fables. So, I know you're looking at the game and you're all thinking, wow, this sure looks like another paper RPG game I've played. And yeah, it definitely does, but comparisons suck, and if all you do is compare games to other games, then I encourage you to enjoy a game for what it is. And with that in mind, I will not be comparing Bug Fables to any other game for the rest of this video, because I'm sure every other reviewer already did. Like, yeah, good job guys, maybe next time you should actually talk about the game. The first instances I could find on Bug Fables is through the Twitter account PaperBugDev, and it appears that they started posting in June of 2016. Although clearly, as you can see, there was likely a ton of work done before this post. But man, 2016? This was back before the main characters even had names. Bee, Moth, Beetle. And I mean, look at the screenshots. This looks very different from the game we know now. It's really cool to see what the game looked like back then. I'm sure throughout the 3 years of development there have been plenty of changes, things moved around, complete graphic overhauls. It's neat. The Indiegogo for the project was started in February of 2018, and luckily they managed to get the funds that they needed. A year or so later, November 21st of 2019, Moonsprout Games gave us Bug Fables, the Everlasting Sapling. The story stars a bee named V, a horned beetle named Kabu, and a moth named Leif. And if that isn't how you pronounce Leif's name, then oh boy is this going to be a long video. It can't be Leif, right? Anyway, the three of them form an exploration team for their own reasons, but they all work together in order to obtain several artifacts, exploring through many different lands and kingdoms all across Bugaria to do so. Yeah, Bugaria. The Queen of the Ant Kingdom wants to use these artifacts in order to obtain the Everlasting Sapling. And that's the gist of it. The lore is honestly pretty deep, with many different kingdoms and races, and it's a really interesting world. And it's also a really interesting world to explore. As you can imagine, you can move and jump. However, you can also switch between the three characters. That's because each of the three characters have their own skills to navigate the world. V can use her boomerang to grab things from a distance, hit distance switches, and spin cranks. Kabu can cut some grass, knock objects like rocks around, and some other abilities I don't want to spoil. Leif can use ice magic to freeze enemies, along with some other abilities that, you'll learn as the game progresses. I don't want to spoil. Navigation really works because of how many options the characters have. And they can even synergize together. Leif can freeze an enemy, and then Kabu can knock the frozen enemy to be used as a platform or hit a button. The puzzles in this game are also varied and fun. Like, I actually had to think and break down the puzzle. You always have to consider the character's options, which characters to use, and how to use these abilities to solve the puzzle. It's never as simple as it looks, and playing with a simple mind can really mess you up. Like, just because Leif can freeze something doesn't mean he should in order to solve the puzzle. They put a lot of time into these puzzles, and I can respect that. And I usually don't really like puzzles in JRPGs, so hey, good job. Enemies are all on screen, thank God, and battle initiates when you touch an enemy. Battles can also be initiated if an enemy attacks you. Using characters' abilities won't automatically start a battle, but instead daze the enemy. Starting battle with a dazed enemy lets you have an extra action to use. However, you can also just choose to daze an enemy and then run past them. Now, for the real good stuff. Bug Fables' battle system is incredible. It's very heavily focused on making plans and executing everything perfectly. You can choose between attack, skills that cost TP, items, team relay, which we'll get to, and other options, including spying on enemies to see their health, running from the battle, and other options depending on certain factors. Every attack has an action command timing, as well as every enemy attack having a timing to block. Fail an action command and you basically lose all your power. Fail to block an attack and you get destroyed. The blocking system is dependent on how closely you time the block button to the exact time you are struck by an attack. The blocking frame lasts a while, so if you don't want to risk it, you can just press it earlier to get the block. But it's best to get the super block, which if you're not playing on hard mode, which we'll get to, will usually negate most damage. And you know me, being a parry god, I got the blocks on lock. Luckily, the game lets you know which character is getting targeted to by fading out all the other characters during an enemy's attack. Stuff like this is how you know this game is polished. The three characters are all very balanced, having distinct strengths and weaknesses. V is the only character that can attack airborne opponents without using TP. However, enemies with high defense kinda resist most of her attacks and multi-hitting skills. Without using TP, Kabu can only attack the first grounded enemy in front of him, which can be very bad when enemies start setting obstacles in front of you. However, he can also flip certain enemies that have a lot of defense, allowing the party to finish the job. Leif is the only character that can attack underground enemies without using TP. He can also freeze enemies, which is an incredibly useful way to buy yourself some extra turns and even do more damage to an enemy. His ice magic is also super effective against many enemies, yet some enemies also resist it. So as you can see, there is no character that can do everything without TP. This makes it extremely important for you to ensure none of your party members fall in combat. As soon as a single party member falls, the game just got a lot harder. You lose a turn and you lose that distinct character advantage. If V falls, you can't target flying enemies without TP. The same goes for Leif and underground enemies. This is why I think Kabu has a skill that lets him revive a downed ally, because he doesn't have a target that only he can hit. Game design, baby. If you don't have any TP and these characters fall, then hey, the fight's likely over and you're going to have to run away, or if you're up against a boss, hold that game over. Now, let me tell you why I love this battle system. Positioning, man. Depending on the positioning of the characters, there are certain effects activated. At all times, the person in the front of the party will have increased attack, but will also be targeted more. However, as long as all characters have a turn, you can switch the positions around. You can also switch which character you want to use first at all times. So if you run into a battle against flying enemies, but you ran into the battle as Kabu, it's okay, because you can switch positions to have V up front so she can deal the damage, or keep V in the back and switch her to allow her to knock the enemy down for the others to fight. And here's a super cool pro tip I found out. Don't tell anyone. If you have an extra turn, such as from starting combat with a dazed enemy, you can use the character with the extra turn to attack in front, and then, because all characters technically still have a turn, switch to another character so they can get the attack bonus too. You can thank me later. But now, for the one thing that completely flips the battle system on its head. The one thing that makes this my favorite battle system to ever get put into an RPG. The Team Relay, man. Team Relay allows one party member to give their turn up to another party member. Party members that attack multiple times with their multiple turns will get weaker, and this is when the game explodes. Suddenly you can tackle situations in a million different ways. There's so many strategies and ways that you can use the relay system in order to react to what's currently happening to your party. For example, I needed to heal a character. I have no healing items and V has a healing skill, so I'll relay to V in order for her to use the extra turn to heal, and then maybe even heal on her normal turn, a double heal. Now hear me out. I found that strategy out on the final boss. That's how long it took me, because there are so many different strategies and freedom with the battle system. It's like a free flow sandbox, and you're only limited by your creativity, and maybe your TP. I wasn't taught to do the V thing that I did. The game never told me that I should give V extra turns to heal the party. I knew I could do it because I evaluated the game's mechanics in order to formulate a plan. And that's what this entire battle system is about. Using all the different tools from character traits to positioning to the relay system in order to beat specific encounters and situations you are put in. And that's not all. You can equip certain medals that can make you change the strategy around. You can equip medals that power up characters who are poisoned. Give certain skills to characters like allowing Kabu to hit flying enemies. Medals that affect the positioning and makes you want to move your characters around, and so many different variables that completely change your strategy. Leveling up after a fight lets you choose between increasing the party's HP, TP, or MP, which is medal points. I think I increased TP twice on my playthrough, and then I just went to town on medal points. I ended up with an insane party with Kabu busting out incredible damage. It was awesome. But on some fights against planets enemies that Leif is super effective against, I made this build where Leif was just doing mad damage. He was pissed. And I truly believe that all of this strategy and nuance to the battle system can only be explored if you're playing on hard mode. Hard mode is a badge that you can equip. It's basically the first badge you get. It makes the game far more difficult, but you get more XP and exclusive badges for beating bosses with the hard mode badge. The game is a whole new beast with hard mode on. Blocks and super blocks are essential. Messing up an action command can destroy a run, and if a party member dies, I'll catch you later, boy. If you miss a block, then everything can immediately get ruined. Most bosses in this game on hard mode took me from 30 minutes to an hour. Just me constantly grinding against the boss, coming up with new strategies every time I retry. And the game wants you to retry when you lose to a boss, because it gives you the option to do an instant rematch, or rematch and change your medals around. I'm going to be honest, spending hours grinding against bosses, it's some of the most fun I've ever had in a game for a while. It was never because I was under leveled or anything like that. I was just doing something wrong. Once I found the right strategy, clutched out the perfect blocks, and beat the boss, man, it felt like heaven. And that's because this is a very skill-based combat system. There's no armor that I need to boost my stats, no random critical hits, or hoping an enemy misses me, no. You either get good or turn off that hard mode badge because you aren't ready. I've uploaded a video of me fighting the final boss of this game on hard mode. It is one of my favorite gaming experiences I've ever had. That boss took me nearly 2 hours, and it was an absolute blast. What you see in that fight is everything I just explained. Me doing multiple different strategies and having to change my strategy in order to accommodate to how the battle shifted. And an ending that was so tense, my hands were shaking in anticipation and fear. I have never ever had a game make me shake like that from all the pressure and excitement. I require you to give the video a watch, after you beat the game of course, and get your mind blown. I do have some criticisms though. Maybe I'm just bad, but there are a few attacks in this game that I feel like you just have to get hit by to learn. Most of the attacks in this game are correctly telegraphed, but sometimes you really don't know if, say, an enemy's going to throw a fast projectile or a slow one, and a lot of bosses have a multi-hit attack that you would likely not see coming at all. Which makes me wish the game had some sort of surrender button against bosses, because after getting wiped just because I didn't know how to dodge one attack, I don't feel like sitting around just to have my other party members die so I can play again. And this one's kinda big. If you do play the game, I recommend you to go to the options and turn off mashing inputs and make them sequential inputs. Mashing in this game, it's kind of broken. You're supposed to mash to fill up the bar, which works most of the time. I think you will have to fill it up really fast if you want to get the perfect block. I'm not really sure, it kind of seemed random. Then there are attacks that if you aren't mashing before they start, you're already taking full damage. Even then you might not be able to fill the bar. It's not fun. Listen, I can jack it pretty fast, you feel me? Play me in Mario Party and I can show you my mash skills. I do the whole thing where you vibrate your wrist in order to mash with your fingers super fast. Even I can't fill the bar sometimes, maybe there's a rhythm. But anyways, they give you the choice to turn it off. Likely for accessibilities, in which I kinda wish it was just off by default. Okay, I'm talking too much about the gameplay, but it is really excellent, and a lot of time went into making it work, clearly. This is one of the most creative and fun battle systems ever to be put into a turn-based RPG. I am truly impressed by that. Even if the characters and world weren't interesting, I'd recommend the game just for that. But hey, the characters and world are interesting. There are a ton of reoccurring characters with their own motives and ideals towards what's happening, and nearly every character has a unique, memorable design. And man, there are all sorts of insects here. It's so cool. Everybody looks cool. And of course, there are the main characters. V is a small fluffy bee who loves exploration and treasure. She left her kingdom in the hive because she wanted to be an adventurer. Because most bees only serve the queen, but V's ambition is what made her want to be different. She can come off as rather greedy, always asking for a reward for any favor she does, but she has her reasons. And there are times where she understands that you don't always need a reward for helping others, and those moments are pretty significant. Speaking of which, we have Kabu the beetle. He is a chivalrous, big old softy that always ready to help out anyone. He's very strict with justice and dislikes thieves and even the littlest bit of shady characters. But when he's upset about something, he gets pissed, man. One of my favorite moments in this game is when, way late in the game, where he just goes off on this character named Moth Eva. It is awesome. But I mean, he's also a very kind dude. He's like the opposite of V. He helps people to help people. He doesn't care about the reward. I also really like his happy sprite. God, that's adorable. Hell yeah, I love Kabu. Oh, uh-oh. Step back. Cool guy alert. It's Leif. I love Leif. I'm pretty sure everyone who plays this game loves Leif. He's a moth dude with ice magic. He doesn't know why he has magic, and he wants to find out about his past and understand how he has been asleep for so long. He's fascinating. Every character has their own quest that tells a lot about their character, and Leif's whole story, man, it's insane. Like, I could make a 30-minute video analyzing Leif. He's an incredible character. He's also just so cool. I really like his personality. He stands up for the group and isn't afraid to just toss insults and start fights. He also loves cute things and always comments on characters that look cool. Half of his tattles are calling enemies cute or commenting how cool someone's outfit looks. He's definitely a cool dude. Speaking of tattles, you can tattle every enemy, area, and character. And every tattle involves all the characters giving their own opinions and thoughts on areas and characters. and tattles used in battle will give that character who did the tattling specific dialogue to the enemy. It's really cool. The dialogue in this game is extremely well written, I mean it. Certain tattles really stick to my mind because they reveal a lot about the characters. One of my favorites is this one here, where the characters talk about what they would do if they ever stopped being in an exploration group. Kabu wants to be a gardener. Man, that's just so adorable. It's just all these small things and details that make these characters so great. I was just tattling everything just because I wanted to hear what the characters think. And it's because these characters are so detailed that really sells the dialogue, whether it be comedic or serious. While the trio poke fun at each other a lot, it's still friendly. You can tell that these characters are friends. They compliment, they help each other. They don't just bully and roast each other to the point where you wonder, why are these guys together? No, these dudes are friends. I really respect how the characters get serious and understand when their friend is upset. I really like these moments. It shows that these characters are mature. It shows that they care. Seeing the characters being nice to each other just makes me happy. This is a really cute game and it just makes me feel good, you know? These characters are great, not just the main characters, but all the side characters. I could go to town about characters like Maki, Kenny, Mune, or Mun, Mothiva, Zasp, Sin and Pisky, and even the cool one-off characters. Man, imagine if we got a Bug Fables 2, where you get to play as all these characters. I could make some crazy dream teams. I just want a Bug Suikoden, you know? Okay, if you can't tell, I really love these characters. Even the characters that don't have much to them still interest me. This dude here with a shady past, I just really think he's cool. I want to know more, man. I hope the devs do more with these characters, you know? I mean, they've already done a lot. This game is full of dialogue and character, and I really have to commend the creators for that. But hey, it's not just the characters, it's the whole world. In this world, humans are considered giants, and you can walk around and see human objects that are huge because you're just a bug. Like, there's something really atmospheric and pretty about seeing these large discs. Speaking of atmospheric and pretty, my favorite area in this game is definitely the Termite Kingdom. The cool atmosphere, the chill music, and oh man, the view from the rooftops. This place is beautiful, man. It has such a different environment compared to most of the other areas in the game. I really like it. No spoilers, but I also really like the final area of the game. It's creepy, yet very, very cool. This game has some great pacing too. I always believe that the best format for an RPG is to make the main quest fillerless while adding a ton of side content. This kind of lets the player choose how long they want to play, being able to just breeze through the main story if they want. Though with how much some side quests affect the main story, I kind of wonder what it's like to avoid them. And as you can see, I definitely did a ton of side quests. The side quests in this game are actually very good. The rewards you get are great. You can get new skills, exclusive medals, and the characters and scenarios are pretty interesting for the most part. So this game's got some great pacing, right? But if I may pour out my complaints with this game real quick. It's mostly a hard mode thing, but having to run back to the main town to refill on items gets pretty annoying. And I didn't mention this, but items are definitely required to beat bosses on hard mode, which isn't a problem, it's just part of preparement, right? But if you get stuck on a boss fight and you wasted your items on the fights beforehand, you're going to have to run back to the Ant Kingdom to refill. Or not be stubborn and just turn off the hard mode medal. Oh, did I say run to the Ant Kingdom? I meant walk. Maybe it's just a me thing, man. I just like run buttons. I want to run. Like, if you aren't going to make fast travel a big thing and encourage exploration, then I wouldn't mind a run button. Maybe just for town areas, I don't know. I know it would mess with a lot of the game balance with puzzles and enemy encounters, but I'm glad that the fast travel isn't too intrusive. It's more like shortcuts to different areas. I never felt like I was missing out on areas because I took the shortcuts, because you usually have to explore the area first anyways, or go there during side quests. Also, I find the crystal berries to be pretty interesting. I was kind of confused at first, not just where to use them, because if you don't do a side quest then these things are pointless to your game, but I was more confused at how hard these were to find. The items you can get with them are really cool, but you really have to make a decision with what you should get. Money itself is very sparse at first. It's kind of surprising, really. Even by the end of the game, I never felt like I had a lot of money, and everything just feels so expensive. But it was never bad enough that I had to grind for currency or anything like that. It's kind of crazy, man. I'm starting to see more games coming out that claim to be a paper RPG. This might be the start of a new genre, guys. Like how platform fighters recently became a thing. And Bug Fables? This game is incredible. I love this game. The writing, the characters, the gameplay, the story, the music, the environment. All are incredible. Very few games can reach that sort of excellence, in my opinion. I've been seeing a lot of naysayers on this game, the kind of people that judge a dick by its cover, and man, those people are missing out. Falling back on comparisons can lead blindness of the great standing right before you. Moonsprout Games, you guys did an incredible job. And the fans like me that love your game, we're gonna stick with it till the end. We are massive fans. You guys hit it out of the park with this one. I'm very excited to see if you guys are planning on making another game. But rest easy, I have faith this game is going to blow up. When you guys get it on the Switch marketplace, that's the time. But yeah, as I said before, I don't really buy or play games that much anymore. Like, I honestly can't think of any other game I played this year. But hey, my memory sucks. But I guess that also means that Bug Fables is my game of the year. But what a pointless title that is. This is a good one, guys, and I really recommend you give it a shot. It's a banger. I'm really glad this game wasn't just filled with insect-themed puns, you know? I'm glad you guys at Moonsprout didn't go that route. Like, imagine creating an interesting game world, but then you just fill it with puns based off your unique idea. That really stings to think about. Wait, stings? I mean, relying on puns for humor just really gets me waspy. Oh, wait. But, well, you know, games like Bug Fables, they don't do that. And I think that's really the bee's knees. Okay, I'm not doing this. So that's that for that, guys. Play Bug Fables. This game kicks butt. I love bugs, and I love you. I'll see you guys another day, someday. Okay, guys. I get how end screens work now. I don't have a lot of time, so here I go. I'm making a game myself. Check the Twitter out in the description. It's on hiatus at the moment, but I'm getting close to coming out with a banger trailer, guys. I got a Patreon too if you actually have money. Imagine that. And you can follow my normal Twitter if you want, but I kind of post weird things, so be warned. Alright, that's it. Bye.